Welcome to Zennurgy, the interactive podcast providing resources for building a better life. I am Zennurgy. I'm your conduit, your coach, and your catalyst to that better life. A coach draws out hidden potential in a subject. A conduit provides a connection, and a catalyst sparks change. So I am here today to talk about calm, kind of finding peace in the chaos of life. We all have chaos that surrounds us, some of us more than others. um, and how can we kind of try to find some calm? What are some resources that we can use to try to calm our lives, to make our lives more peaceful, more safe, just quieter internally and also sometimes externally. And I am here today with Miss Charlotte Simpson. So say hi to the people.
Hello, everyone.
And
Thank you for having me today.
oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. And so I wanted to kind of just start off talking about what does calm, mean to you. So I'm going to kind of say, what does calm, what does quiet mean to me when we're talking about kind of our lives? So for me, when I feel calm, I feel at peace. I feel that I am capable of handling things and things are not overwhelming to me. And I just feel like everything is kind of in order and it's just kind of like I said, it's just at peace. And so, there are things that I do in my life to try to stimulate that calm. Like I might burn a candle, I might say a prayer, I might read a book, I might walk in nature where it's quiet. So sometimes when my life gets to be really chaotic, I have to kind of take some of those mental breaks and those little mini, in a sense, vacations, whether it's 20 minutes in the bathtub soaking with some bubbles, with a glass of wine, or just these little things that help me to calm myself. And I've also found that breathing is great. We breathe all the time, but we don't breathe consciously. So sometimes I'll go on YouTube and I'll actually do a breathing video. There's this guy I follow that it's called Take a Breath. And he'll actually take you through a 5 minute, okay, we're going to do some deep breathing. Breathe in for 4 counts, breathe out for 4 counts. Picture yourself in a quiet forest or whatever, and he's just having you just breathe and just calm yourself. Picture your feet relaxing and now your calves are relaxing and you're deep breathing, and picture your thighs relaxing. And so some of those things help me to kind of find calm even in the chaos of life, even in all of the uproar that can surround us. So what about you, Miss Charlotte? When you think of calm, what does that mean to you?
You said the perfect word, peace. Peace. And one way that I get my peace is by walking on some near water. Water is very tranquil to me, and it cools me down. It slows me down. It gives me that inner peace that I'm needing. And then also, I do say a prayer, and sometimes I talk to myself. And like you said, take that deep breath. I remember in school, I don't want to date myself, but psychology was my favorite subject. And I just knew I was going to be a psychiatrist. But we took when taking psychology, this particular day, she had us to come in and she had us to close our books. And I'm like, what? Close our books? But she walked us through just exactly what you said, to close our eyes and imagine us being somewhere else, whether you like the cold or the warm weather. Imagine yourself there. And what it does is it allows your body to relax. Another thing that I like in order to have my calmness is being organized.
Mm.
When I'm not organized, things are so, dysfunctional. It's chaos to me. I can't get that inner peace. But when I'm organized, I'm able to move fluently, and that gives me calmness.
Awesome. I can relate to several things you said. Water.
Yes.
There's a place, I don't know if you've ever been to the Woodlands Waterway,
Yes.
but that is
Yes.
one of my favorite places to go and just to walk by the water, to sit.
Mhm.
They have little benches out there. They even have a koi garden where they have the fish. So just to go out there, and sometimes they have music playing, but to go sit out there and listen to the water, to look at the water is so relaxing. Sometimes I take a book out there and I'll just sit there, all write in my journal, and I'll just sit out there by the water. Or sometimes I like to go to the Transco Tower, near the Galleria, and just watch the water cascade down. And it's just very relaxing. Sometimes you feel the water spraying on you, and it's just very soothing. So I agree with you. Water is a beautiful thing. There are plenty of places. Some of the parks have fountains in them.
Right.
And I would like to, go by those fountains and sit there and just breathe and just take it in, and just not think about anything, just clear my mind, and just let myself be in the moment.
Right.
And then you mentioned being organized. Now a lot of people say I'm super organized. I don't see it that way. I think that I have kind of a organized chaos. But there is a point where I'm like, okay, there's too much stuff around me. I have to get everything clean because I cannot think.
Right.
There's just too much stuff. So I have to clean this up before I can sit down and do whatever I need to do. So I agree with you that organization can definitely help you feel that calm. And I think it's good. We do live kind of in the rat race of America. And it's good to go find those moments of calm, because our bodies were not meant to stay in a perpetual state of heightened stress. And science has told us that it can lead to heart disease, it can lead to hypertension, and it can lead to ulcers, and it can literally shorten your life when you have so much stress in your life. So they've actually done studies that things like meditation and prayer and breathing activities, yoga, those kind of things will actually help you bring that stress down. Those stress hormones like cortisol, which can cause us to gain weight, and bring all of that down, and just actually add years to your life. What else have you heard about why it's good to try to move away from the chaos, to kind of trying to seek more calm in your life? Have you heard anything else that makes that important?
Oh yes, because what happens is it causes, like you said, stress. It's too much on your bodies, and then your body reacts. That's why a lot of people have heart attacks, strokes. Some people just go, they literally have a mental breakdown, and your body reacts. And I know for me personally, I've had heart palpitations, and
Mm,
that's not good.
mhm.
And nothing is that important to where I need to sacrifice myself to to continue that. So it's very important to find that peace. But yes, uh, I just say the body itself, and then the mind. You can't think clearly. You can't think clearly if even if you just have a lot of things on your mind. You can't focus. That's the key word. You can't focus, and it would distract you from anything else that you're trying to move forward in. So the body is very important that we concentrate on that calmness and peace that you're speaking of.
Yeah, I agree with you. You cannot think clearly. I mean, it's just too many thoughts jumbled up. I have created a journal, and I've been journaling since one of my teachers introduced it to me, I think in fifth grade. And I've been a journaler ever since then. And I sometimes call it download in my brain, because sometimes I can't even go to sleep at night because I have so much in my head, and my mind is racing, going all kind of different directions. And so I just actually download my brain, and I get it all out. And then I take that deep breath, and I go and I lay down and I go to sleep. And sleep is also another thing that we sometimes don't get enough of. I know I have to get on myself about that, sleeping more and trying to, take care of myself in that way. So, are you a person that gets enough sleep? Are you one of those that does a good job with that?
Of course not. Now, if I had my way, right, even right now, I'd take a whole week and just sleep, rest as much as I possibly could. I always say that I need to try to catch up with my sleep, but I don't think that's even possible. But yes, I'm one that needs it because even sometimes when we're sleeping, our mind's still going. and I'm a dreamer. So sometimes I just wake up tired because I've been working out through the night, even though I was asleep.
Mm.
So yes, I love, I need that extra sleep and would love an opportunity to catch up on my sleep. And I found out that even taking naps, I mean,
Oh yeah.
I cherish those memories of being in kindergarten and pre-kindergarten when we needed to take, had to take naps. Yeah.
Hmm.
Now as an adult, can I take a nap, please? But yes, sleep is so important, and people don't realize how important sleep is, because again, you couldn't really function if your body, even God rested, and so if He needed to rest, what about us? So it's very important, very important.
That is very true, and um, we are both involved with a nonprofit called Back to Eden, and I like that name, Back to Eden, because Eden was for people, pretty much everybody who's had any kind of biblical or church background knows that Eden was that garden that was created, and
Yes,
it was a place where people were initially close to God and close to nature and just in this kind of perfect environment. Now we may never have a perfect environment on earth, but we can try to get back to having that peaceful environment, that safety, that place where we feel like we're protected and we're not in danger, you know um, and so I actually love that name, Back to Eden. And can you tell us a little bit about Back to Eden?
yes, thank you so much. Back to Eden is a fellow program that where we empower survivors to be leaders. And I am Charlotte Simpson. I am the chairperson. Our founder and president is Kathy Phipps. She's not able to be with us on tonight. And then we also have a vice president, Sherelle Simmons. And then we have you, Zen, yay! As one of our board members. And we're so thankful. So, our mission is to foster leadership skills in survivors of intimate violence partners and sexual violence through an intense 5-month fellow program. Our leadership model is experimental and it intersects knowledge with practice. So we're not out here just giving you a curriculum, do as I say. We're going to be there with you. This is life skills that we're giving those survivors. And what we're doing, I'll take a step back. Kathy Phipps, she founded this in 2017. And it was a passion of hers because she too is a survivor of both sexual and domestic violence. And so when she was in the system, she saw some things, some gaps that needed. And so the law, she took it upon herself to go ahead and instill those services. And that's what Back to Eden is. And that's some of what we do.
Yeah, and I saw and I posted on my page that you guys have been doing some support group meetings for different people and having different outreaches for different groups of people who are struggling with different things. And you have that Back to Eden Facebook page where people can look and see what you're doing and when you're having other meetings, because I know you had several in the month of July. Um,
Yeah.
so, I also, am a survivor of domestic violence and sexual abuse. And so, one of my friends actually, that actually I get some of the moisturizer that I put in my hair, he makes it. He actually said, there's a lady that I really think you guys should connect. And her name is Kathy Phipps, and I think she's looking for some people to get involved with her nonprofit, and I think you'd be a good fit because I think you guys have some similarities in your background. And he was right, because we were both survivors and we both have turned, we're talking about finding quiet or peace in the chaos. you
Right.
know um we both had some chaotic backgrounds. We had some violent backgrounds. We had things that happened to us that, some people become bitter and hateful. And want to take revenge for. But instead of going that way, we said, well, how can we heal? And not only how can we heal, but how can we help others to heal and move forward and rebuild their lives? And I love when you say empowering survivors to become leaders, because when you have been victimized, sometimes you have the temptation to take on the role of a victim, someone who doesn't have power, someone who's been taken advantage of, and you can get stuck in that mentality, that woe is me. But then the other side of that is saying, well, no, I'm no longer a victim. Now I'm a survivor. I'm an overcomer. I'm someone who's on the other side of that, and I'm dealing with some things, and I'm working on maybe getting some help in different areas, maybe healing in certain areas, but I'm not going to be victimized or even defined by what happened to me. I'm going to rise above it, and I'm going to be able to actually reach out and help others rise above it. And so that's part of what Zennurgy is about, is wherever people are stuck, wherever people are hurting, wherever people are, discouraged, giving them things that they can look at, listen to, use to get out of that, and to find that peace and that quiet and that empowerment. And so with the Back to Eden Fellow program, I think that you guys are doing the same thing, and trying to meet some very practical needs also. So what are some of the things that people could expect if they were to reach out to you? Like what are some of the things that you're doing in the
Okay.
community?
Okay, before we go there, I want to kind of jump on what you just mentioned. Do you know? And a lot of people don't know, and if you're a survivor, you may not even realize, but it takes up to 7 times before someone decides to move forward. It could take up to 7, so they go back to that same. It may not. We promote resilience by healing and by incorporating what we call the 4 R's of trauma. And this is an informed approach, which means we do realize, we recognize, we respond, we resist, so that we won't go back to that trauma. And so I wanted to mention that because you were so on it right there. But some of our services, our fellow program, as I mentioned before, it is an intense 5-month program. We also have support groups such as codependency, PTSD, family dynamics. We also, it's not just for adults. A lot of our teens right now believes that if he doesn't hit me or if she doesn't cuss me out, they don't love me. So we talk to teens about dating. And then we also have anger management. We also do like case management, where we provide financial literacy and then credit building, because again, this is not about just where you are now. We want to catapult you into a better, a wealthier future. So we have to give you these life skills and tools to get you there. And so we have the credit build, and then also safety planning. We also help with those that need or are protective orders, or maybe already have a protective order in place. So we're there to help them with the documented assault. And that's just a little bit of what we do. Back to Eden, the nonprofit, I'm very thankful for it, because where we are, what we provide is a lot of what is not being given. Uh, because you get to that point of getting out of the situation, but then what? And so this is where Back to Eden comes from, meaning back. We're going to get back to that calmness. If you've never been there, you got to find that calmness, because that's what we're about. And you can't continue to, it can play in your mind and over, but we teach on how you can get that out of your mind, how to replace the negative with the positive.
Well, that's really great. And speaking, when I came out of my situation, I remember one of my situations that happened was I had my ex-husband, my first husband, had gotten angry with me, and we weren't even together. I was living in a totally different place, but that didn't matter. And I had actually, a protective order at the time. That still didn't matter. So he had gotten angry about something, and he came over to where I was staying, and he reached into the car, and I had one of those bars that went on
Oh
the
yeah,
steering wheel. I forgot what those. I think it was called the club.
the club, right?
Yeah, and you basically locked it on the steering wheel so nobody could steal your car. And he reached across me and he took that and he smashed all the windows of my car while I'm sitting in the car. And I'm covered in glass. All of the windows of my car are smashed. And I remember driving to the police station that was like maybe 5 miles away, 10 minutes away, something like that. And I'm like, I want to file a police report. My ex-husband broke his protective orders, and came over to my place, and, you know, I'm covered in glass because of this. And they're like, are you divorced? No, we were still married at the time. He wasn't my ex-husband at the time. He was like, are you still married? And I was like, yes. And they were like, well, we're, he's not physically around you right now. So he's not technically breaking the protective order. It's your word that he did this. And if you're still married to him, this is community property. It's nothing we can do, you know, sorry, and just the feeling of like, wow, there's nothing you can do. You were looking at me like, and the attitude that this particular officer had was like, you got yourself into this. Why are you expecting anybody else to get you out? That was his attitude, even though he didn't say it, that was his attitude. Why are you expecting help from us? You should have picked better. You should have chosen better. You should have seen this coming in some kind of way. And, but I do remember getting from one officer who happened to be a female officer, she handed me a card. It was like a magnetic card you put on your fridge, and it had a bunch of numbers, like suicide hotline, police, it had the women's center on there, and then it had a counseling center, and it had like 4 or 5 other numbers. And I remember actually calling like 2 or 3 of those numbers, and that was how I ended up being able to get some services and some help from, the Women's Center and another place that did counseling. I think it was called, oh my gosh, my mind is going blank. It was a counseling center that counseled on a sliding scale. And I was there going to support groups for a year, just getting my mind right. They had programs for the kids too. And just, people don't understand that when you come out of that situation, people who've never been in it, they think, oh, she left him. Oh, her life is great now. Okay. Everything is rosy and cozy and it's safe and wonderful. And that's actually like the most dangerous time, and the time when most survivors need the most help, because that's the time when they generally come after you and try to get revenge for you having the audacity to leave, or having the audacity to call the cops, or having the audacity to file a charge, or whatever it is. That's the time when they want to come and do the most damage. So it's kind of ironic, but generally you're kind of safer staying than you are leaving. Not to say that you should stay,
Right.
but that's why having a group like yours where you can get a safety plan. Let's come up with a plan of how you can leave in the most safe manner. It may never be completely safe, but let's try to really plan for everything that we can think of, that we can plan for. And then even when you leave, here is the next step. Because everybody's telling you leave, 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 like leaving is the end. Well, it's actually kind of the beginning of starting a new life, and you need help. Most women can't leave by themselves. They need, like I said, the protective order or the restraining order. They need the services, that different community organizations provide. So a lot of people don't understand that. And then also they need the mental help, because you're talking about PTSD. I remember for years after I left that every time a man raised his hand, I mean, raised like his voice, I
Mhm.
would move just because his voice raised. I would literally move away. That was a sign that there's still an expectation that because he's getting agitated, I need to get away. I need to get out of arm's length. I need to get where he can't touch me, because the next thing that's going to happen is he's going to, reach out to punch me or hit me or whatever. So there are people who don't understand that there's all kinds of triggers that women have, men have, who've been abused, children have. They need to learn how to deal with those triggers. They need to learn how to overcome those triggers, talk about them. They need to learn that things were not their fault. They need to learn, I remember getting some of the literature that I got where they talked about all of the different things that an abuser might do, to control you, that are not, it's not just violence. There's all kinds of behaviors. And I remember holding on to that and looking at that time after time after time, because I was like, okay, this is not healthy stuff. I didn't know that all of this was unhealthy. I didn't know what gaslighting was, when they try to make you think that you're crazy, or that, I didn't know what minimizing is, when they try to make it seem like you're blowing things out of proportion all the time. And I didn't know the names for any of these things. So I was taking what he was saying at face value and not knowing that, no, these are all mind control techniques. These are all him trying to get you not to trust yourself, him trying to make it seem like you're the problem. If you just did the right thing, said the right thing, acted right, none of this would be happening. It's all your fault. So there's a lot of unlearning that has to go on, and when you don't know, you don't know. You know what I'm saying? And so it's wonderful to have a place where they're saying, here, let me show you what to do next. Here, let me put a safety plan together with you. Here's a support group. You can come and talk with women that have gone through this, and they're a little further up, so you can actually see, oh, I can do this.
Right.
She's doing it. You know what I'm saying? She's not running back to her abuser. She's staying out. She's actually surviving on her own. Because a lot of times, even if I had a degree, you know what I'm saying? I was actually the breadwinner in our situation. I was making more money than he was, but still a person can beat you down so much to where they're make you think you can't survive without them.
Mhm.
Nobody else is going to want you. All of these things is just psychological mind games. So when you have a group that comes together and says, we're here for you, you're not alone. You're a good person. We're going to support you. We're going to help you, do this and that and the other. Maybe if you need to go and file, or, some papers, or let me help you. Do you understand how to even do this? Do you know where you need to go? You know what I'm saying? Do you know what you need to bring with you when you go?
Right.
So there's a lot of guidance that I know that you guys are providing, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get involved, because I know how lonely it is, how
Yes.
embarrassing it can be to have to, people talk about coming out of the closet. Well, when you have to, in a sense, come out of the closet as a survivor of rape or incest, something that happened when you were a child, or domestic violence, there's stigmas attached to that,
Yes.
and um, to have a place that is validating you and saying, we love you, we see you, you're valuable, you're worthy, it's not your fault. Here's some of the things that happened to you, and this is some of the manipulation that happened to you, and this is what we can do to help you. So it's very powerful. It's very uplifting. And and I say all the time, I don't know where I would be had it not been for some of the people that came into my life at that point. I don't know where my kids would be. They're grown now, but they were what? They were 6 when I left.
Wow.
So it's definitely something that is really important to have groups like yours. And I know you might want to chime in on something. I know I was talking for a while, so
No, thank you. You helping me out. But no, I want to share with you. I am a survivor as well, and um, I don't say much about it. But those that kind of know me. They think they know it. But I've been putting it out there a little bit at a time. And one thing I have to say is, you're forever learning. Whether you're a victim, you mentioned about the police. That's why a lot of people do not want to call the police because they feel like they may not be helpful. I've experienced that myself, and it's like, why? What's the point? Um, and so I too was like, okay, this is so helpful. But I was married and three kids, and I tell you, he told me to my face he wanted to keep me literally barefoot and pregnant, and to myself. So, emotional abuse, physical abuse. I believe the emotional for me was worse than the physical, because the emotion for me, it lasted longer and it played in my head over and over. And like you said, I'm questioning myself. Is it me? Am I really like this? You begin to alter yourself, but you're becoming what they want because they have that control. And so it became very scary. But when I did leave, uh, like you said, I was very embarrassed. I called my best friend at the time and I told her that I was being abused. And her one question was, "What did you do?"
hmm,
As if I was do that.
hmm,
And that alone just broke my heart. It wasn't anything else I can say. What was the point? But I'm very thankful that I had at the time my mother, and she was no nonsense, and she was there for me even once I came home. But I didn't want to. For a long time, I didn't want to be seen because of the embarrassment. Not only now am I getting a divorce, but the fact of why am I getting a divorce? When I came home, knocked on my mom's porch, her door, and she saw me. I didn't look like myself. I was just that beaten and bruised. Of course, I didn't look in the mirror because I didn't want to see. And
hmm.
so to this day, I hear the stories of how I look like walking death. I say that to say, you're so right to have a program like this. And I didn't at the time. I did seek counseling, but I'm still learning some things even now. And it's so important to be that freeing and saying, I'm thinking, okay, Charlotte, wise up. So now I know what to look out for in other relationships, not only just, boyfriend or husband or what have you, uh, co-workers, friends. They all can manipulate you and have you to think one way about yourself. And so I pay attention to all of these signs. And I'm so thankful to Back to Eden because this is a passion of mine, to help those. I see people walking down the street, and I tell you, I want to pull over. I said there was an incident at the bus stop just the other day, and a friend of mine said, "Did you see?" I didn't see. And they was like, well, if you had seen, we know what you would have done. Yes, something was going to happen if I don't do nothing but pull over and call the cops. But I am so very thankful to Back to Eden to give out this information that is so widely needed to male and female. We don't just service females, males as well.
Yeah, and you're talking about your best friend and her reaction. I probably till, let's say, maybe a year ago, I could probably count on one hand the amount of people who knew. All
Right,
right. Um, because I didn't want people to know, even though it was years ago. I mean, I left in what, 1999? Um, so we're talking about over 20 years ago. But still, I didn't want people to know, even though it's been 20 plus years,
Yes.
because there is this, like you said, well, what did you do?
Mhm.
Or what didn't you do? Or why didn't you leave the first time? Or whatever, all of these different things. And I understand that people who, people have their, when you have never been in that situation, let's say before I was in the situation, I might have said the same thing. So I can't even judge them in a sense, because it's hard to imagine being an adult and being in an abusive situation if you've never been in one. It's hard to imagine, like, how did somebody even let that happen? That's the thought people have. But it's so unexpected the first time it happens, and it's so, it doesn't happen normally the first date or
No.
the first year. You know what I'm saying? For me, you know what I'm saying? And by the time it happened to me, I mean, I had 2 kids and we've been married for years, and I'm like, this is the man I plan on spending the rest of my life with. And then you think counseling will help, church will help, prayer will help, fasting will help. If I do this, if I do that, I can fix this, because we didn't start out this way. I can fix this, you know. And then there's also that pressure. I know I grew up in a culture of women are the glue of the family. It's your job to keep that man. You even hear that, well, she can't keep a man. That whole thing. It's your job to keep him happy. It's your job to keep your family together. It's your job to make him happy. And actually, I had to let go all that go. No, it's not my job to make him happy. It's my job to be the best person and relationship partner I can be. But each person has to make him or herself happy. He has to make himself happy. I have to make myself happy. We can come together and bring each other happiness, and do things that the other person loves. But no, it's not my job to make that person happy. It's not my job to become something different so that he finds me acceptable. Because why did he get with me if he didn't find me acceptable? Why did he get with me to tell me, why you wearing makeup, who you want to impress? Why are you going to do that? You know what I'm saying? Why are you wearing perfume? Why you leaving out the house with perfume on? Why are you doing that? Oh, you trying to meet with somebody? Who you trying to meet with? Just the little simplest thing. I mean, by the time I left, I didn't wear makeup. I didn't wear perfume. I didn't wear anything form fitting. All of my clothes were about 2 sizes too big, because all of that was a problem. You
Mhm.
know, all of that was a problem. So it's like you change so many things about yourself, and then you don't even realize it because you're just trying to keep the peace. you
Right.
know and we're talking about calm as a topic of this, but keeping the peace and being at peace are two different things,
Right.
because there's a lot of women that try to keep the peace in a chaotic house, when they have to realize sometimes you have to leave. You have to leave. This person has a lot of issues, and they need to get themselves together, and you have to leave and take care of yourself and your kids if you have kids. And so probably about a year ago, I started talking about my experiences and talking about um, all the things that had happened with me, and how it affected me and all that. And I will say this to women out there with kids: I left when my kids were 6.
Mhm.
I thought that they were going to be good. I thought that they weren't going to remember any of this. They do. They remember.
Yes.
And even though I put my kids in counseling, they still, to this day at 26, there are behaviors they have that they have chosen some chaotic situations at times because chaos was normal for them. Being growing up those first 5 6 years in a chaotic environment made chaos normal for them. So when they ran into somebody who had a chaotic personality, a manipulative, controlling, deceptive, abusive personality, there was a sense of familiarity to that. And both my sons had to, in a sense, unlearn some of that. And I did too, learning what a good relationship looks like, and how you should be treated, and what good communication looks like, and what peace looks like. And I must say this: peace is not boring. There's some people who feel like, well, if there's no fighting and making up, and there's no, drop down, drag outs, cursing out and throwing stuff against the wall, well, that's a boring relationship. No, that's a healthy relationship. You don't need all of that to have. You can spice up your relationship in other ways. Go out to a comedy club. That's spicing up your relationship. Nobody has to get a black eye to spice up your relationship. You know, so there are other ways to have excitement. Go to an amusement park. What I'm saying, go bowl, go to main event, go do something together that's wonderful and healthy. You don't have to be abused or in an abusive situation just to have some, not to have a boring relationship. you
Correct.
know and
Correct.
so did you
Yes.
want to add anything onto that?
Yes, I wanted to say, Zen, as we are queens, and we as queens, we fight to the fullest. We're going to try our very best to keep it together. If it means taking ourselves down, that's what we do. We as strong women, we're going to keep our families together. If it means that, okay, I have to accept him beating me and doing all of this, and like you say, cussing me, I do it, like you say, to keep the peace. That's not peace. That's not peace. And I we what I like about Back to Eden is that we teach how to have healthy relationships, which is very important because even as you stated, when we are in a relationship so long, we begin that becomes our normal, our norm. And so if you start hitting me, cussing me, it's not normal and it's boring. And then, like you said, we can spice it up many other ways. So I learned from my history to take those points of what I saw, and be careful not to take those into the next relationship. Because what will happen is, if you're not getting that norm that you're accustomed to, you turn around and you become the abuser
Mm,
because you're so accustomed to those ways.
mm.
So Back to Eden teaches us how to have healthy relationships.
That's really good. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And we'll be right back. So I'm going to play a little commercial for you guys, but we're going to be right back in about 3 minutes. My name is Zennurgy, and I have a weekly podcast called Zennurgy, which is fuel for the mind, body, and soul. And this is the Zennurgize Your Life Goal Setting Package, Volume 1. It comes with the workbook, a journal, stickers, a bookmark, tabs, and a QR code where you can find my podcast. And inside this workbook, you're going to have 16 different principles. The first one, I'm going to show you mine, is abundance. You have a place to put pictures that inspire you of role models, also pictures of goals that you want to create, goals, journal prompts, meditations, affirmations, all kinds of things to help you focus on this principle to better your life. And like I said, there's 16 principles. So this is a $15 package that comes with all of these things I've shown you, $21 with shipping and handling, and you can get it at laughsandlyrics.com. So Zennurgize your life with me. Thank you. Okay, so we are back. And I wanted to kind of piggyback on what you said about knowing what a healthy relationship looks like and knowing that you don't have to go through all of that. I remember one of the things that I did, I went to some support groups after I got out of my relationship. And I remember this woman, she was getting her certification as a counselor. And so doing the support groups was part of her process to get certified. And I remember she said something like, we have to understand that there's actually been changes in our brain when we go through trauma. And we actually have to give our body and brain a time to heal and come back to normal. And she was saying, what I mean by that is that she said, when you are in an abusive relationship, you're walking on eggshells sometimes. And then you get these bursts of adrenaline when, there's a scary situation. You get this burst of adrenaline. and then you kind of come back to, come back down to normal. And you get used to, in a sense, that there's going to be these outbursts. There's going to be these times when you get this, in a sense, this burst of adrenaline, and then this sense of relief. Okay, well, nothing happened that time, or it wasn't that bad, or whatever. You get that real like, and then it comes back. That and it comes back, and you get used to that. And she says, so for some survivors, they actually get addicted to all of those chemicals that are flooding their system, because there's kind of an endorphin rush. It's kind of like runner's high or something like that, that you can actually get addicted to that. And what you have to do is learn how to give yourself positive stimulation, do things that are healthy for you, go on a run, go on a walk, find out what you like, give yourself those endorphin rushes. She was like, because otherwise you will literally go out and seek out another partner like that to recreate that feeling, because you've become addicted to it. And that was like, it was scary and mind boggling to me, but I could not deny it, in a sense, because I as a person who had been out of that relationship for 2 years at the time. I was out of that relationship for 2 years at the time. There would be times when I would be feeling like I was missing something, and I didn't know what it was, and feeling like, there's something I'm missing. I'm feeling this like, and when she said that, it just, this ding, 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 ding went off in my head. That's what I'm feeling like I'm missing. I got used to this adrenaline rush, this cascade of endorphins and chemicals that was going through my body, all these hormones going through my body. And now that I'm actually in a healthy relationship and don't have it, I feel like something's missing. And, her saying that, okay, there's a way to fix this. Give yourself those positive, those rushes of excitement, which we were having negative excitement because it was fear. But sometimes your body and your brain doesn't exactly know the difference between negative and positive. You know what I mean? Because a negative can be, we can redefine a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, in our brains. And black can become white and white can become black. And we don't understand that that's what's happening. And so that was something that I learned. And once I learned that, and I learned how to really take better care of myself and give myself things to look forward to, give myself that, in a sense, those adrenaline rushes on my own by doing things that I loved, then that feeling of something's missing went away. And that was very empowering for me to understand that, okay, what I went through changed my brain, but I can change it back. I can stop craving this high, low, high, low, high, low. I can get used to there being a more constant flow of life, and I don't have to feel like that constant flow of life is a problem. I can feel that it's a blessing, you know and so it's crazy. It's like, in a sense, I hate to use this analogy, but it's the closest thing I know to it. It's like when a person gets addicted to drugs, even though I've never been addicted to drugs, you see them seeking that high, even though they know that there's a low coming. As soon as they hit that high, they know there's so many consequences, but the high is so high that they will go for that high, even when they know they could be, falling all over the floor, zoned out, vomiting, crashing into something. They could have an arrest, they could lose their job, they could have all this stuff. But the high is so high that they're still seeking it anyway, because their brain is actually changed to crave it. And there's been that physical change also with addiction. So that was something that I learned, that I was really happy that somebody taught me, so that I could have a healthy relationship and not seek out another abusive relationship, because my brain was fried from all the chemicals, that all the endorphins and adrenaline that had been pumping through it for almost 6 years.
Yes.
It had gotten used to all of that
Mm-hmm.
and didn't know how to deal without it.
Right.
You know.
I was gonna say, you and I on the same wavelength because when as you was talking, I was like, this is drug abuse, substance abuse, and you're exactly right. We go and we chase that first high, and we never can catch it. So we perpetuate that attitude or that action. And one, as you was talking, I thought about affirmations. It is so key to have affirmations. But before I go there, I wanted to mention also that Back to Eden, we do help with substance abuse as well. But now the affirmation, when you were saying we have to reprogram our mind and learn the negative, the positive, and right from wrong, retrain our mind. Affirmations are so great for that because we're going to find affirmations to state, and meditation is uh, repeating that affirmation out loud over and over and over until we train our brain. And so, yes, we do affirmations as well. And that is so very important for us to retrain because we don't want to go back to that. We
Right.
don't want to go back to that. We're so much better than that.
Oh yeah.
We have to have someone to let us know and teach us and continue to guide us through that.
I agree with you on that. We definitely are so much better than that. And you know, I self I remember when I came out. All right. I felt I had lost myself. And
Mhm.
everybody says, "Well, how did you find yourself again?" One of the things that I did was I created a poster for myself, and I went A to Z, and I put things about myself, positive things, and I actually just posted this in my house. I blew it up at Office Depot and posted it in my house. It was like a oh gosh, that it was a poster size. So I don't even know what the dimensions are poster size, but I would look at it every day. And then one of the things I also did was I wrote down a list of the qualities that I really needed in a partner, things that were going to be healthy, things that were going to be safe, things that were going to bring me calm. And I had a list of 10 things and I put that on my wall. You know, and I actually did marry a man just like that. We were married for almost 11 years, so I got all the things on my list. But yeah, so really going back and redefining yourself and finding that peace and that calm inside, and looking back and looking at, taking accountability. I had to look at some of the red flags that I missed, some of the behaviors that I had that kind of may have um, like low self-esteem. I had to say, okay, I'm going to work on my self esteem. I'm going to work on my identity. I'm going to work on my boundaries. These were all things that helped me to find peace, find a stable foundation. And those took years. It took years, to revamp my self image and really just come out and be a different person, a better person, a stronger person. So I don't have any regrets now about what happened. It is what it is. It was a choice that I made, and I had certain consequences, um, and I had to learn from them, and I had to grow from them. And so, but I'm so thankful for the people that were there and helped me. And I'm so glad that there's a place, like Back to Eden, that can help more people to deal with some of those struggles, because you can feel like you're on your own. You can feel overwhelmed. You can feel like you don't even know where to start. And just to have someone who's okay, I know where you are,
Right.
and you're not by yourself, and here's some steps to help you get to where you want to be. And even getting to wanting to set goals and
Yes.
wanting to even imagine a better life. Sometimes people are scared to do that when they've
Mhm.
been in a bad situation. They're scared and it's great to have somebody come and say, yeah, we can set goals with you. We can, this is where you could be. This is what you could do. Let's talk about how you're going to get there. Let's talk about, some of the things, the steps that you can take to get there. So those are some really inspiring motivational things, that can help people.
Yes. Yes. And Back to Eden, we're here for you. We want to help those that are in need to get back to that place. And being able to find a new you somewhere where you never thought is so awesome. And that's what I'm learning even today. This is a new Charlotte that you're looking at. This is
Yeah.
not the Charlotte back in the 1990s. And but I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful. And a lot of times I heard what you said. You owned up to your mistake, but guess what? You're human. We're all going to make mistakes. The important part is recognizing that mistake, not beating yourself up over and 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 over like Charlotte did.
Right, right.
But owning up to it and being able to move on. And we're here at Back to Eden. That's what our goal, our mission is to help you to find the you that you never thought you could be. So, yes. And I just wanted to give out our location if anyone needs to come out and get some assistance. We're located right here in Houston, Texas, 4141 North Freeway, Unit 102, and our zip code is 77022. And in case you wanted to call us and get more information, please do. Our telephone number is 713-239-0356. And our website is back to eating fellow.org.
Well, thank you for that. I just wanted to say one thing because you said something really important. Everyone makes mistakes, and you don't need to beat yourself up over and over and over again by over the fact that you made a mistake. And I think one of the things that I learned, one of the things that brought me calm, even in the chaos of moving from a bad situation to a better situation, was forgiving myself and forgiving him and forgiving everybody. You just everybody. Because, a lot of times survivors can look back and say, I learned some of these bad thoughts, patterns from my parents or my grandparents or my aunts and uncles. I saw a lot of negativity in the relationships around me. Okay, they're human, forgive them. And I made some bad choices. You're human, forgive yourself. And your partner made some bad choices. Well, he or she was human, forgive him. And just letting all of that weight come off and say, okay, today is a new day. I'm not trapped in being who I was. I can be someone completely different. I'm not, sometimes people say, why are you changing up? You do need to change up. We should grow as people. So don't feel as a person that you owe someone else the how can I put it, to stay the same. You need to live the life that is going to best suit you and be healthy for you and bring you peace and calm. Our state, when we were born, before we were born, we were in this perfect place of calm inside the womb, you know what I mean? And then we came out, and then we had, for many of us, we had a lot of love and attention, and we had the swaddling and the safety and all of that. And then we come, as we get older, we come into more and more conflict and more chaos. But we can go back and have those Edens, whether it's a support group, whether it's a building where we go and get help, whether it's actually something we create in our own home. I think everybody should have a place in their home where they just, maybe it's your bedroom, maybe it's your bathroom. That's your little place where you close the door and you have a little me time, and you find that peace and that calm in the middle of whatever is going on. And whether it's 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, 20, 30 minutes a day, whatever, you take some time for yourself because you deserve it. You deserve to let all that go. Just breathe it out, shake it off. I think of that TV show, what was it? A Different World, when Jasmine Guy was sitting on the sofa with the therapist, and the therapist said, relax, relate, release, relax, relate, release. You know, and I think for many of us who saw that show in the 90s, we all had that little mantra, relax, relate, release, and we would kind of tell ourselves that. And as an athlete, I remember being on the court, the volleyball and the basketball court. I had a coach named Coach Pellerin, black lady. She had dreads. The woman never aged. She looked the same 30 years later as she did when I was in high school. So, but I remember she would bring us off the court and we would have our half times or we would have our huddles, and she would say, whatever just happened, that first half, everybody shake it off. We're going out there the second half. We're going to do our best. We're going to win this game. But if you made a mistake, if you dropped the ball, if you whatever, just shake it off. Just shake it off. And then sometimes you would see us, coming out onto the court, and we would still be kind of shaking it off, just shaking it up, just letting all that go, because there's nothing you can do about the past. You cannot change the past. You can only change the present and moving into the decisions you make in the future. And so just letting all that go and making better decisions, getting knowledge, getting guidance, getting some help and support so that you can move from chaos into peace and calm and quiet and get healthier. That's what we're all about. That's what Zennurgy is all about. That's what Back to Eden is all about. Just giving people those things to let's shake all that stuff off from the past and let's let all that go. Let's relax, relate, release. And now let's look at where you are and what can we do right now and how can we move you forward, so that you can have the life that you want, the life of your dreams. So I think that that's definitely what we're here for. And as you can see scrolling on the screen, we've got backtoedenfellow.org is their website. They do have a campaign. So those of you that are listening in July right now, they do have a campaign going. It will end soon, but they will be doing another one later in the year. So if you wanted to tell them a little bit about the campaign.
Yes. Thank you. Our crowdfunding campaign is in July, and we have different levels. And not only will you be given to us, but we'll be given to you as well. And those monies will be for operational expenses as well as support groups. Um, Expenses. We want to be able to know that all of our clients will be able to get the resources needed. So this is where these monies are coming from. And you can actually go to our website and you'll actually see the crowdfunding link right there. You can go there and click on that and actually read up on it. And then also it's on Indigo, and that's INDIEGOGO.com. And you can also donate there. But if you go to our website and if you're not able to do the campaign, you can go to our website and press the donate button and click there. Trust me, this is good ground. We're helping the people, we're helping our communities. So your monies and your donations will be put to great use, and we really greatly appreciate it.
And just to kind of, I guess, put things into perspective and just to give credit where credit is due, there are many of you that might be listening and you don't know the women around you that have gone through sexual abuse, rape, domestic violence. In the Black community, it's 6 in 10 that have been sexually abused before the age of 18. And I believe the statistics on domestic violence are in America, the last time I looked anyway, every 90 seconds, a woman is beaten by her partner. Every 90 seconds. So let's say we've been on here 60 minutes. So we're talking about 30 plus women have been beaten or in some way abused by a partner during this broadcast, just in this time we've been talking. So there is a high likelihood that you know someone that has been abused or raped or a victim of childhood sexual abuse. These are the people that they are helping. you know someone who has been addicted to drugs or is addicted to drugs. These are the people they are helping. And when you're thinking, well, I mean, oh my gosh, those people never change it. Yeah, they do, because you're looking at one. I'm not in an abusive relationship. I'm not being raped or abused in any kind of way. Yes, people can move from that and come out and become a survivor and overcomer. And a lot of those people go on to live really productive lives where they try to give back, like Miss Charlotte is doing, like I am doing. So when you look at people, look at Oprah Winfrey. She is a survivor of both, you know, incest and sexual abuse as a child. All right, she's a survivor. Maya Angelou was a survivor. There's so many people that have gone on to live amazing lives, great lives, productive lives. So just because it's happened to you, if you're a person in it right now, you don't have to stay there. You can come out and live, in a sense, the life of your dreams. And if you're a person who's never been in it, never really known anybody, there are people that you can look at, like the two of us, like the famous people that I mentioned, that have come out of this. So do what you can, support where you can, and share, this video. If you can't give a dime,
Right.
share the video. Maybe there's somebody out there that you share it to that can support financially, or can, volunteer, or maybe needs the services. So when you post this on your page, then they may say, oh, I didn't even know this was a place I can go. Oh, this is right in my neighborhood. Oh, this is not too far from me. I can go there. I can get some help. So I just wanted to encourage the people that are out there to share this video and to donate if you can. And I wanted to thank you guys for joining us. I am Zenashe. You can find me on Facebook, Zenashe Poetry, Zenase Poetry. Instagram, it's all smushed together, Zenashe Poetry. The podcast is called Zennurgy. If you've never seen an episode before, Zennurgy. It is about the urge for more peace and fulfillment in life. We discuss a different topic every week. And so this topic was about finding calm and peace, even in chaos, moving from that chaos to calm. And we happen to talk about domestic violence and surviving sexual abuse and substance abuse as a part of that. So I had Charlotte Simpson with me. And can you tell them again about Back to Eden, where to find Back to Eden?
Yes, we are located in Houston, Texas. We're at 4141 North Freeway, unit number 102, and our zip code is 77022, and our telephone number is 713-239-0356. If you need help and you go on our website, you'll also see where there's a link there for you to click if you're in a situation right there where you can safely click the 911 button there. And then also, I just wanted to plug right quick that we also have a YouTube show called Spilling the Community Tea. Get it? Community. Well, we give information about not only our community, but yours as well. Some things that you may not know is happening or going on in your community. So if you get a chance, go to our website or look up the YouTube show, Spilling the Community Tea. And thank you again so much for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you guys for joining us. May you walk in Zennurgy. Have a great night.